Hello, coders. Good afternoon. Where has all the music gone? I thought that was running. I thought I had that running. There we go. It's very quiet. How's everyone going? Hope everyone is doing well. Let me just adjust my microphone. I am today going to be doing some API testing, and I can tell why the music is... Hang on a minute. It's coming out of my... There we go.
Sorry, the music stopped since your Spotify account is being used on another device.
Lols. Shush. Google Home. Shush. Sorry about that. So, today I'm going to be doing some APIs in PHP and some testing. And we're going to be using Swagger as well to document those APIs too. Again, this is the How to Code Well API stuff. I basically am in a position now with the project where I can sort of take a step back and go, well, what have we already done? What needs to be tested? What hasn't been tested? What hasn't been documented? What is the state of the project from the back end's perspective? And we'll do a similar thing at some point with the front end too. So that's what we're going to be playing with today. Hey, Mr. DB. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm okay. I'm good. Okay, so let me get back in. Let me get to the code. Here we go. Oops. So there was a problem that I need to solve first of all. That's the URL image. So I'm just gonna do that first up. And this will require me to just check. This will require me to just double check some environment variables on another machine. Just bear with me a second, because I was playing with this yesterday. So, where are we? It was Mailer. And... yeah, there's two environment variables that I need, so I'll just put those in quickly. We've got the image URL, and we've also got URL underscore verify. Because yesterday I was dealing with some the password reset functionality. Verify is equal to, and it's HTTP. 2 seconds whilst I just do all this. How to code well.local, and then I'm probably going to need to verify, build it again, then run the test URL verify, and then I'll go through the Swagger docs. That looks good to me. Let's hit save on that. Let's also bung these into the other envs. So we've got the dev env and the test env. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay. All right, let's come out of those. Okay, let's put those at the top. Boom. Okay. So let's get into the code. Let's do a rebuild of this. So let's do a docker compose up -d build, and also I seem to remember there was a composer installation as well, so we'll need to do that too. Yes, because I updated bits and pieces. This is Swagger though, whilst this goes on. So this is where are we here? This is Swagger. These are all the API endpoints that I've got, that I've created thus far. And I guarantee that not all of them are tested, and I guarantee that certainly some of them at least aren't tested thoroughly. So what I'm going to do today is go through each one by one, or as many as I possibly can in this stream, and we're going to document them via Swagger, and then we're going to test them and create a test for them, because recently I've been thinking about what makes a project stable in the sense of what makes a project acceptable for launch. And I think for this project at least that all the APIs need to have an API test to back them up. And also the front end needs to have acceptance tests on every page. So yeah, I mean, there's still going to be APIs to build. There's still some functionality that I need to build through, but I think that we're now changing the direction of this project a little bit on stream. So I'm going to be doing less building and more testing on stream, I think, just because we've got to that point in the project where it's like, I don't know, 80% of the functionality has been created already. And so we're now into this long sort of process of making sure that everything's as tight as possible, everything is tested as well as it can be, and I guarantee you it's not. Especially on the front end, there's a lot of things on the front end that I need to do. So yeah, how are we getting on with this? We're still okay. We're dealing with Node. Fair enough. Node is a humongous Docker image to pull, so that will take some time. In terms of the documentation, so I can mark these as secure and insecure, so you can see the secure, the lock here and stuff. And I can also define the parameters. So if I went to post edit here, there's no parameters here, for instance, right? However, if I went up to, I think it's this one here, I can actually define the parameters. So I want to use this Swagger documentation as a means of me documenting the APIs, because I asked myself a question yesterday of how many APIs do I have, and I couldn't answer that, and also how tested are all these APIs, and also something that I've discovered which is a little bit weird, and I'm guessing this is just a byproduct. So we have forgotten password, we've got password forgotten and password forgotten reset. Okay, that makes kind of sense. But then we've also got, if I scroll down here, we've got user forgotten hyphen password, and then we've got user password. What on earth are those? I've got a feeling that I've gone and done something, that I've kind of duplicated some code somewhere, I think, and called it different things. I don't know why. So this is a great tool. This Swagger documentation is a great tool. This is running off of the Nailmio API doc bundle from Symfony, because this will just visually shows me what API endpoints I've got, and also I can group them to say users and tags and resources and all sorts of stuff. So I can focus specifically on like certain groups. So I think let's just bring them all out. So first of all, I'm going to deal with category, and then we'll make our way down the list. Default is anything that isn't in a group, including of course the JSON for actually getting this documentation out, and then the auth stuff, so getting the tokens. This is actually using the FOSS user bundle stuff. All right, how are we getting on with this poll? Still going through. Okay, I might be able to just work through some of this. So okay, first of all, let's do this in like a series of passes. So the first pass is making sure that they're all the ones that are secure, make sure that they're tagged with secure. So for example, with the user here, you can see that these are all locked quite well, and yet if I was to run, I can actually run these APIs from this thing here. If I was to run this, it's going to say that my auth code is invalid. It should do at least. So this is the curl request that was made, and then this requests this is the requested URL, and then this is the response, so unauthorized. So this is actually a secure API endpoint, but the documentation doesn't say that it is. So let's go through and deal with that. I suppose what I should do is create a new branch. Let's call this, I don't know, what are we going to call this branch? API testing, I suppose. API review. There we go. API review. All right. Okay, so the API that we just ran was excellent. It's done. Cool. The API that we just ran was categories. So we'll load that up, and then I will category. Okay, so here we go. And whilst that's up, I will also just do a Docker. No, I'll do a make vendor install. Yeah, I thought there was some packages that I was missing. Yeah, I suppose I best do this first before I start delving into a lot of the code in a heavy way. But essentially, you can tell I'm getting impatient now. Essentially, what I need to do, if I can find the right tab, there we go, is there's this SWJ, which is Swagger tag category. And if we went to the user stuff, which is where, there, you can see that there is a security based on bearer. So yeah, we'll copy that. So essentially, all the ones that need to be tagged with being secure needs to have this in here, like so. So the find all of the categories. So let's go and run that, or at least refresh the page, and we should see that it's labeled as secure. Hopefully. Is it having to do a lot of stuff because I've told it to do many things at once? Probably. It's still refreshing. Come on. At least one thing, please finish. He is either composer or this. Okay. This is me being very impatient, and I'm asked two things at once. It was clearing the cache, and I was trying to request a page. Why we can't do two things at once? I don't know. All right, here we go. The annotation, security, and method, blah, 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 was never imported. Ugh, that's why. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Okay, yeah, it's an import. It's an import, which is... Where are we? Symfony, annotation, security. There we go. That's what we need. Right. Okay. Let's do the install again. Lesson learned here. Lesson learned. If you're doing anything with the vendor stuff, including clearing cache or anything like that, don't change the code. I'm just so impatient. I just want to get this done. Yeah, my mind has gone into this sort of mode recently where I'm just thinking about getting this into as production ready as possible. And then what on earth does that mean? What does production ready mean? You know, as a freelancer, I can say that there's many projects that I've put out live where the client thinks it's production ready, where the project manager thinks it's production ready, where the rest of the team thinks it's production ready, but where I'm like, I'm not sure. But yeah, but I don't, it's difficult to define what that is, because I'm one of these kind of people that will just keep picking at stuff and it will never get launched. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I think there is, and I hate myself for saying this, but sometimes I think there is justification for just putting things out there and just seeing what falls down. And I really don't like that. So, yeah. Okay, so that's done, and now if we refresh this page, we should hopefully get that back. But I've boiled it down to, I want all the APIs tested. I want a test for every single API. You can see the security lock there. And I want every page to have a test against it as an acceptance test. And I think those two metrics, those two things, if I can run that, both of those together in a way that just comes back with a report to say that it's okay, I think that is going to be my guide as to whether this is production ready or not. Which is why I want a goal to say that I want to test against all of these things. Okay. And when I say every page in the front end to be tested, I think what I mean is because there's 17 courses that I've done. I'm not going to test every single one, but just a course, just to make sure that people can register and view and learn from, on that page. But not have to crawl through every single one, because I think we've got something in the region of I saw the other day, it was close to 100 pages, so that would be just ugh. If one course doesn't work, then I'm assuming that all courses don't work, that have a similar set of data. So okay, all right, so what we're going to do now is we're on categories, right? Categories doesn't take a parameter. It's just literally returning all of the categories back. So that's fine. So I'm pretty happy with that. Does this have a test though? That's the main question that I want to ask. If we go to tests, if we go to API, these are all the API tests. Does categories have a test? We've got CSS categories here, API categories, running as the type of system. Yes, it does have a test. Is that test acceptable? So we're running it as a bearer token, and we're just making sure that there's a success return. Okay, so can I run this again without a bearer token? And so this is, I don't know why it's all, this should be get all rather than all three. I don't know why that's all set to all. Get all success. Oops, don't know why that popped up. And then this is get all failure or error or invalid. Okay, so we're going to do it without that, and we're going to assert that this comes back with some sort of error. So that's common success. Do I have anything to do with errors here? No. I mean, that should come back as a 401. So we should, I see response code is 401, I think. Okay, let's change that to be get all. This should be get all success. Get all. Well, let's just change that up. So this is get all with no token. That makes more sense. Token. Get all with no token. I mean, this is vital for me to make sure that none of these can be touched without a token. And this one here is specific to the system, so a user shouldn't be able to make this call either. All right, let's jump into the container at least. So let's do docker compose exec bash, and then do bin, all the things that we've done before, bin code set run API -G, and pick on that particular one there. Yeah, that's an interesting one, Mr. DB. Maybe that's a subject for a podcast. When is code production ready? Yeah, I think that different people in a project will have different agendas, will have different opinions of when a project is production ready. For example, I don't think the developer has the same sees it in the same light as, say, a client, the end user, or the person paying the client, or the project manager, or the QA tester, or all of that stuff. We see a lot of times apps, especially apps, mobile apps, and people give them like 1 stars because they don't think the app keeps crashing and all of this stuff. We go onto various websites and we can see that the website isn't, it doesn't have any responsiveness on it, or it doesn't have, there's bugs, that are clear, obvious bugs, obvious issues, and yet someone's pushed it. Someone's made the decision to go, yeah, that's fine, we'll ship it. So, I don't know. The thing that I'm struggling with, of course, is the fact that I am both the developer, I am both the project manager, and I'm also the client as well. So I'm the one who's having to write the code. I'm the one who's having to spend time. This is time that I'm not spending developing courses. So there is a business implication to this. So that's my client, putting the client hat on. There's also, and then there's the project manager side of it. It's sort of like, I want this done by this particular deadline, which is just an arbitrary date, And then there's the developer in me, like, saying, I need to follow good practice, I need to do all of this stuff, I need to have tests, I need to make sure everything's, the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And then there's another side of this, where this is a pressure that I never realized I had, but it's the fact that I'm doing this live, right? So at some point I need to come up with this sort of decision that this is production ready, and push it live, and then know that there could be bugs that I need to fix and deal with that on stream. Or what happens if this falls down and just catches fire? What happens if this just blows up as soon as I put it live? So there's a reputational thing as well to deal with. So, oh man, I'm seeing that the stream is dropping. The stream, whatever you call it, the internet, the thing I'm working on, the internet is falling. So hopefully, let me just double check a couple of things a minute. I've got some flashing lights that I need to check. Yeah, the router's still making the right flashes, so that's how I tell if the internet is still up. Okay, so that test passed. Get all with no token. So that returned a 401, which is perfect. That's exactly what I need. But I think that this needs to be done via the system rather than a user. A user shouldn't be requesting this. So what I need to do is run a test and put the bearer token in. So this is, let's just change the wording of this. So that's get with no token, get with wrong token. Wrong token. Okay. I have a feeling this might actually pass, which is worrying. So this would be type user free. And this should return a 401. It should return a 401. And the thing is, the thing is, none of this, there isn't going to be a user actually going to be able to make these requests, because this is the only thing that's ever going to be able to make these requests is the front end, and this is behind a gateway. So really, have I ran the right one? So really, this is like a total belt and braces. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So by putting this live, I'm now saying that the code is production ready and this is good enough to go live. Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's kept me up at night a couple of times. It's like, if this was a project that I was doing for a client, it would probably be out in the wild already. All right. Because this has been driven by a developer and not by a tech spec. Developers have a very different mindset to getting something live. Not all of us are entrepreneurs who have an idea for actually building a platform to put courses on, right? So there's the business aspect to all of this stuff, but I've kind of left the push for this to the developer side of me rather than the business side of me, which I don't know. I don't know. I can also see myself finding excuses as to why this isn't good enough to go live. So for example, today we're dealing with Swagger. Have I ever used Swagger on any of these streams? No, I haven't. Could you say that this is a shiny toy that I've decided to use? Yes, you probably could do. Yeah. So okay, so this get all with wrong token test has failed because this is actually returning some bits and pieces, and yet it shouldn't be. And now this is because I haven't enforced the fact that this needs to be done via just a system. It can be done by a user. So what we're going to do is just modify the controller a little bit here, just to sort that out. So this is an API controller. I think I did something similar to this. It was what was it? I think I have it in the base class, It's get user is user is system. There we go. Is system or throw exception, and then this will be a create access denied exception. Yeah. So to fix this, what we do is say this is system user or throw exception. Okay. So let's run that again. Okay, you do not have necessary permissions. Is it coming? I see a 401, but I'm actually getting a 403. That's fine. I've just yeah, that should be HTTP. Is it? Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's status. I'm sure there was. something here. I could... Nope. Okay, let me just see. I'm sure there was a check for the status code. And I think I did this on the forgotten password stuff, didn't I? Unauthorized. There we are. HTTP status code. That's what I'm looking for. So that will return a 401. So it's forbidden. That's what I want. And we'll do a similar thing on this one. That's HTTP code, and it's 401 unauthorized. I mean, don't get me wrong. Doing these things is great, right? You know, we're really making sure that the API is as tested and as documented as possible. But there needs to come a point where it's like, just put it live, man. Just just do it. Just roll with it. Otherwise, you'll never actually find all the bugs, because the thing is, you're never going to code around every single particular edge case. You're not going to think about every single edge case. You have to be there has to be a time as a programmer that you have to become reactive over proactive. So you can do all the proactive things that you want, but to a degree, you really need to put it live to react to those things. To the way the user behaves, to the way the user treats and handles the system, the different states the user accounts can get into. You'll never, as a programmer, be able to define every single specific state of everything. I don't think. Okay, so that's done. That's good. Let's just run all of them with categories. Yeah. Also, what I need to do is update the database, I think. Man, the internet keeps falling out. That sucks. I can just see like "welcome back to the chat" message in Twitch, so that's a bit rough. I've got a really bad sort of habit of looking at the new shiny stuff. I mean, before the stream, literally half an hour before the stream, I was looking into Flow compared to TypeScript, because I was thinking maybe I need to have some TypeScripting on the front end. and then I was reading about Flow, and I thought maybe I should be using Flow instead, to do some static type checking on the JavaScript. Wow. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come out of this, and I'm going to do make db test rebuild. What this will do, it will drop the database. I should have done this beforehand. And then it will rebuild the database and rebuild the fixtures, because I did some changes to the fixtures yesterday. Put in the dummy password for the database, and we should be good to go. Okay, so that is categories sorted. Let's now move on to courses. Courses type. We've got a required type here. If I was to try that out, I should be able to put in the type. So free, for example, and then execute that. This will complain. I haven't worked out yet how I can actually put a bearer token into this. Because they're always coming back with not authenticated, which is fine, I suppose. Okay, so anyway, we go back to courses. So courses type. So that would be courses cest, this one, I believe. So this is getting the type back. API courses free, that's the type. And then API courses premium. That's the type there. Again, this is going to be a system call rather than a user call. I bet I haven't put in the tests for those. Get course. Okay, so we got a number of them. Okay, let's first of all work through these. I'm starting to think maybe I need to have a file for every single API endpoint. That would probably make sense, right? So this is getting by type. So could we change this up to what have I called it in here, course controller. I've called it find slug. No, that's not it. No, this is abstract stuff. Where are we? API course controller. Okay, we got the enrollments, we've got the shows, we've got the index. So it's actually index that it's called. And we put in type and free. I wonder if we need to do course index. Like that. Courses index. Because then that will correspond to this here. Okay, so courses indexed. So that's get all free, get all premium. And then this is get course. So that would be show, I believe. Let's take that out. Actually, let's just copy this. Paste it into here. And so this is going to be course show. Courses show. So we don't have that, and we don't have that anymore. We do have this. I'm going to just do show. So this is course API hyphen show. And then this one is the course that doesn't exist, which is again show. So this is show course that doesn't exist. Well, that doesn't really make any sense. Let's just do get. And that one's get as well. I'll leave it like that. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so we've got show, we've got index, and we've got enroll. I think that was it. If we go to the index, that's what we were playing with first up. We've got these two. This is now in another class. And that is in another class as well. Okay, and just kind of like really sort of focusing on the class, the test class, to the actual method that I'm trying to test, because you're going to hit it in. I'm going to hit it in very, very different ways. So this one, for example, is to get all the free ones. This one is to get all the premium ones. So let's do course API index. As the group on this one. Let's run all of this. So -G. Oops, no, I need to get into the Docker container, don't I? There we go. Run that. So with this, I'm already thinking, well, what if they're not free, or what if they're not premium? What if I decide to put in something different, you know? So there's okay. So first up, there's one test here that I need to do to make sure that only system calls can actually run this, and then there's another test to ensure that, you know, what happens if I know that free and premium are the ones that the values that I've got, but what happens if the value is completely, you know, something completely different? So that those two have passed. That's good. So first up, let's run this with get all token with wrong token wrong token. So I'm going to do this with type user free, and we're going to assert. Let's take a look at how I've done this up here. Yeah, that should be forbidden. Where are we? Course show, course index. There's that one. Yeah. With wrong token. And whilst I'm at it, I'm going to do another one. Might as well do it at the same time. So this is with no token, with no token. So we just remove that. This should return HTTP unauthorized. Okay. So if we run those again, we should now have 4 tests because we've just added 2, and these will probably fail. At least this one will, I think. Because this will be like, oh, you've got a token, regardless of who you are. Hey, Slayer Yeah. I was having a look at the front end yesterday. There is so much to do in terms of the JavaScript. It's insane. Ugh. There's just so much to do. So much to do. And it's coded in such a bad way. I'm just not happy with it at all. That's why I was looking at Flow and TypeScript as a means of trying to force myself to do certain things. I found an issue with Slayer Darth is saying I'm building a community site for STEM community on Twitch, YouTube. Nice. Using Jekyll and GitHub pages. Sweet. That's cool. STEM community. Nice. No, of course not. Thank you very much. I'm honoured. Let me know the link to the thingy to the site, and I'll check it out. Okay, so this one here is, yeah. So I wanted a 403 and it's come back as a 200 OK. This is because I'm putting in a token of a user and I'm not actually checking that. So this would be in somewhere like the not course view, not that one, not that one. Let's just get to the file. It's API course. That one, and it's this here. So this needs to be. This is system user or throw exception. Okay, let's run that again. Nice. Looking forward to that. I look forward to that. I'm trying to feature educators from not just the live coding community, but also those who stream science content such as chemistry, physics, etc. Nice. Yeah, that's nice. That's a good thing to do. Yeah, send me the link on on a DM or somewhere like that, on either a Twitch whisper or a Twitter DM or a Discord chat. Yeah. So I think, fingers crossed, this will now go through. From their collectives. Nice. That reminds me of the Borg from their collectives. Okay, so, right, the next test is to ensure that, well, there's a thing here that says get type of, with the default of free, find all by package. If we click it, close, go into there, if it's not free, then query one results. This goes straight into a database call. Don't know how I feel about that. I mean, that's not good. I mean, what happens if I do, like, if I try and get a type of course, because essentially this is what it is, it's getting types of courses that doesn't exist. So let's say, for instance, get all with invalid type. So let's say does not exist. I mean, what should happen there with obviously a valid token, right? I mean, that really should come back as a 404, right? You know, not found. But does it? Get all with invalid type. I very much doubt it does. Let's do a run specifically on this one. I bet this blows up. I bet this comes back with a 500 error. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is load up the logs. Make log critical. Don't tell me that's passed. And it has come back with a 404. I don't believe it for 1 minute. What? Alright, let's run this with... yeah, let's put that on. Oh, sorry, I need to evaluate the shell. Of course I do. Always forget to do that. I'm going to run this with VV, I think that's it, with so I can actually see what it's doing. Let's just move this to one side for a minute. Yeah, it has returned a 404, so it has actually worked. Okay, fine. I surprised myself. I didn't think that would work. Fair enough. All right. I think that covers the basis for that API endpoint, for now at least, which is good. So that's that one done. Let's now work on this one. So this one here is getting the course by ID, and I think actually I'm paranoid. I'm going to run this without any hyphens, just because I know that the IDs have hyphens in, and I'm not sure whether that's jumped onto the subsequent API call. And I'll explain in a minute what I'm talking about. No, that has passed. Okay, it's okay, it's no route found for. Have I actually, hang on a minute, have I actually put this into the roots? I may have done. Yeah, I think I've done that, haven't I? That's probably how I've got around it. If we go to dev, no. I want roots.yaml. No, I don't want roots.yaml. I want the controller. I want the controller, course controller. So this is type requirements, free and premium. That's why I have. Okay, fine. Fine. So that is good. So anything that isn't free and premium will fail. And 404. Fine, okay. Good. Okay, no problem. I don't need that anymore. Good. At least that's tested, I suppose. Good. Right. So that's done. Next on the list is getting the course by the ID. Again, this is a system call, not a. I think. Yes, this is a system call. It's not a. Or is it? Yeah, it's a system call. It's a system call. It's a system call, not a user call. So if we go to courses and then course controller again, it's the next one down here. So again, this needs to be a system call. So we'll put this in here, as we've done before. This is the requirements. It's a bit of funky regex to get that UID back. Get course by ID is the thing. Again, what I should be doing as well, excuse me, is I should be marking these as secure. That's what I need to do. And there's something that is probably obvious that I haven't done in any of these files yet. And even though we moved from PHP 7.2 to 7.4, I haven't yet put in strict types up there. And I must do that at some point. Must do that. Okay, so let's just go through here. I think what I'll do is do all of them in one hit and then run all the tests again and make sure that... because at the moment, they all pass, you see. All the tests pass. So yeah, there's index, and there is show on that, and we haven't got to the enroll bit yet. Okay, so let's get to the tests for index for show. Okay, so this is now running a query, or getting the course back by that particular ID. So there's only one test for this. Is there? Yes. Oh no, there's two tests. This one is the one that doesn't exist. Fine, that's a 404. So I suppose what I need to do, that's the one that works, right? I need to... I want to say that I am authenticated. I want to be authenticated with the type of user. It doesn't matter if it's a free user or a paid user. It's a user grant type, password grant type. So, okay, we don't need to worry about this. We don't need to worry about any of that. What we do need to worry about is the return. So that should be a forbidden. So we can get rid of that. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So show with invalid or with wrong token. Okay, good. And then we also need to do another one, which is going to be show with no token, because it's good to do this, I think, with no token, just to be properly belt and braces. So this should be this should be unauthorized. And I'm going to change this up to be API show, because that's what it is. Hyphen show on this one. Hyphen show on this one. Which kind of, so that's show what are we getting it back here? The type with show JSON type. Okay. So this is check JSON type. Check. Okay. Anything else we need to do? This one here is show again on here, and this is a course that doesn't exist. Okay. All right. So let's run all of these again. All of this API show, and hopefully I'll run all the tests against this particular thing, and hopefully they'll all pass. Hopefully. I'm getting messages in chat again saying that welcome to the chat room. So I hope this usually means that the network is dropping, and I can see the bitrate is crashing. So I don't know why. Why do we always have 4 tests? It always seems to be 4 tests per endpoint. So 1, 2, so that's show with no token, show with wrong token. Check the JSON type, and then get course that doesn't exist. Okay, fair enough. How are we doing? Everything's passed. That's good. Let's make the this a little bit more makes sense. This is this here. I want to get the course. I want to check that